You shouldn't be wandering out here alone, ma'am. Not dressed like that in South End at 2 in the morning. Ryan Hale stopped in the middle of the soaked sidewalk, Boston streetlights scattering across the wet asphalt like shards of glass. The woman before him did not respond. She stood hunched near the curb, rain hammering down on her $1,000 cashmere coat, her high heels partly sinking into the puddles edging the cracked pavement. Without warning, her legs suddenly gave out. She fell forward, face slamming into the cold, wet asphalt. For a few seconds, no one moved. Across the street, 2 men in hooded jackets leaned against the wall of a shuttered liquor store. One jabbed his elbow into the other, pointing toward the fallen woman. Their intent was obvious, and far from kind. They began crossing the street, slowly, deliberately. Ryan didn't wait to see what they wanted. He darted into the rain without thinking, splashing through the gutter as he rushed toward the woman. "Ma'am, hey!" he called, dropping to one knee beside her. Up close, he saw she was younger than he'd thought. Perhaps 34, 35, well cared for, and clearly not from this neighborhood. A luxury watch clung to her wrist. Her purse had fallen nearby. "Hey!" Ryan looked up again. The 2 men were closing in, barely a dozen steps away. "Not tonight," Ryan muttered. With surprising strength, he hooked his arm under hers and hauled her up, dragging her toward the side staff entrance of the Astor on Commonwealth. The woman groaned incoherently, but her legs moved just enough to keep her from being dragged. They slipped inside just as the strangers reached the sidewalk. Ryan didn't look back. Inside the hotel, the hallway light buzzed overhead, casting a weary yellow glow across the tiled floor. Ryan eased the woman onto a bench near the laundry room. Her head lolled to one side, wet hair plastered against her forehead. Her breath reeked of whiskey. Ryan looked down at his hands, still damp from the rain, still carrying the smell of cleaning agents from the night shift he had just finished. He had worked 12 straight hours as a janitor, mopping every floor, scrubbing bathrooms, hauling trash, changing linens in rooms long since vacated. It was his second job of the day. In the mornings, he worked as a security guard at an office building downtown. Luna would be waking up in 4 hours, he thought, checking the battered watch on his wrist. She would ask why he came home late. She would ask why he was always leaving for work when she was already asleep. Last week, Luna had asked the question that broke his heart. "Daddy, why do you have to work all night? I want you home when I go to sleep, like Emma's dad." Ryan had forced himself to explain in terms an 8-year-old could understand. "Daddy has to work a lot, so you can go to school and have good food. One day, Daddy will have a daytime job, and we'll have more time together." But the truth was, he didn't know when that one day would ever come. He searched through the woman's purse for identification, trying not to feel guilty. One of the business cards inside was edged in gold. Margot Kensington, CEO, Kensington Investment Group. Ryan stared. He knew that name. Everyone in Boston knew that name. Kensington Investment Group owned half the luxury real estate in Back Bay and South End. "Daniel," he called to the front desk clerk, "can you verify this ID?" Daniel returned with wide eyes. "Oh my God," he whispered. "It's her." "It really is," her Ryan wasted no time. He pulled out his phone and called a taxi. He wasn't about to let her spend the night here, and he sure wasn't about to let some random Uber driver run her card while she was unconscious. 15 minutes later, the taxi pulled up. Ryan pulled a $50 bill from his wallet, Luna's lunch money for the next 2 weeks, folded it tightly, and pressed it into the driver's hand before the man could protest. "Don't charge her. Just get her home." "She's unconscious." The driver raised an eyebrow but nodded. Ryan turned back to help Margot into the back seat. Her body sagged against him with the heavy weight of someone who had surrendered control. As he buckled her seatbelt, she mumbled something. "Good people," she slurred. "Rare. So rare these days." Ryan thought of his father. Jim Hale had died in an alley in Dorchester when Ryan was 16. Drunk, alone. No one stopped. No one cared. They had found him the next morning, frozen stiff in Boston's January cold. No one deserves to die alone like that, Ryan thought, as he closed the car door gently. The taxi sped off into the mist, its taillights glowing red in the fog. Inside, Ryan stood still for a moment, letting the silence settle. His shoes were soaked. His hoodie clung to his shoulders, and the clock above the reception desk now read 2:52 a.m. Just another night at the Astor on Commonwealth. And yet, somehow, it didn't feel like just another night. He walked back to the staff locker room, peeled off his wet hoodie, and wrung out the sleeves. He didn't know what had driven him to act tonight. Maybe instinct. Or maybe just a deep refusal to let one more person collapse while the world turned its back. Outside, the storm was breaking, and over the rooftops of South End, the first light of morning tore quietly, firmly, and irreversibly through the sky. Time to go home, Ryan thought, locking his locker. Luna would want to hear about Daddy's day. And this time, he would have something different to tell. He had no idea that in 6 days, his life would be completely transformed. No idea that the woman he had just saved would return with an offer he could not refuse, and could hardly believe. All he knew was that, as he stepped outside into the early morning air, walking toward his beat-up car under the streetlight, he felt different, as though something in the universe had shifted, small but significant. And at home, Luna slept safely, dreaming the kinds of dreams only children could, where their father was the hero, and tomorrow was always better than today. The following Thursday, just before the lunch rush, Ryan was mopping the main lobby when the bell above the entrance rang with a sharp chime. He didn't look up. Probably Mr. Travers, the regular who always demanded extra lemon in his iced tea, but never tipped a cent. "Excuse me," a warm, elegant voice said. Ryan glanced up, ready with his polite smile, and froze. Standing there, in a perfectly tailored suit, hair immaculately styled, eyes sharp with purpose, was the very woman he had hauled off the sidewalk a week ago. Only now, there was no trace of the half-conscious, rain-soaked figure he had bundled into a taxi. She looked calm, commanding, fully composed. Ryan tightened his grip on the mop. "I believe I owe you a proper thank you," she said. The entire lobby went silent. Even Daniel at the front desk peered over the edge of his computer screen. Rosa, the morning housekeeper, suddenly decided the counter next to them needed wiping. Ryan didn't blink. "Seems like you're walking fine." "I'd say the taxi did its job." Margot stepped closer, her tone calm but firm. "It wasn't the taxi that saved me that night." "I only did what anyone would do," he replied, turning back to his mopping. "But the fact is, no one else did," Margot countered, her gaze sweeping the room before returning to him. "I looked into you, Mr. Hale." Ryan's stomach tightened. "I'm sure you did. You've worked here 6 years since your wife passed. You've done every job from janitorial to filling in at reception when needed, keeping this place running while the former manager neglected it. You've paid out of your own pocket for guest damages more than anyone should have to. You even paid for my taxi when you thought I couldn't handle myself." Ryan frowned. "You're making a lot of assumptions." "No," she said softly. "I'm stating facts." There was a long silence between them. Then she drew a thin leather folder from her coat. "I own this property," she said, "and several others. But this one, the Astor on Commonwealth, has been on the divestment list for some time. Poor performance, poor management, low profit. I was prepared to liquidate it. Ryan swallowed hard. If you're firing me, you dressed a little too nicely. I'm not firing you, Margot said. I'm offering you ownership. The mop nearly slipped from his hands. What? He said louder than intended. She didn't flinch. You are the only reason this place hasn't collapsed. The only reason guests still check in. I've run the numbers. I reviewed the surveillance from that night. You didn't have to do what you did. You could have left me on that sidewalk. Like everyone else, Ryan stared at her, unsure how to react. What are you talking about? He asked, voice thick with disbelief. Who gives away a hotel to someone else? I'm just a janitor. But you did it. While others walked past, she said simply. He looked at her, not sure whether to laugh or shout. So what is this? A rich person's guilt tour? Her smile faded. This isn't about guilt. It's about recognition. I don't need your recognition, he said. No, she said gently, but you deserve it. The folder on the counter remained untouched. He eyed it as if it might bite. I need time, he finally said. You have time, Margot replied, pushing the folder closer to him. Everything is in there. Legal transfer, debt clearance, renovation funding. My attorneys will walk you through every detail, and if you say no, I'll respect that. But I hope you won't. She turned to leave, then paused. There's something about you, Ryan. You don't wait for permission to do the right thing. That's rare. And then she was gone. Just like that. Ryan stood frozen, surrounded by silence, and people pretending not to stare. Rosa muttered, You gonna open that thing or not? Ryan kept his eyes on the folder. I don't even know what's in it. You just got handed a miracle, mijo, Rosa said. Aren't you gonna see what's inside? That night, after mopping the main lobby clean and locking the front doors, Ryan sat alone in the empty lobby. The folder rested unopened on his lap. He glanced at his phone. 6 missed calls from Luna. She must be worried, he thought. Normally, he'd have been home long ago. He pressed call back. Luna answered on the very first ring. Daddy. Her voice was joyful, but tinged with worry. Why are you so late? I called so many times. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I had something important to take care of. Did you have dinner yet? Miss Maria made grilled cheese for me, but Daddy. Luna's voice grew more serious. She said I could stay the night if you needed. Did something special happen? Ryan stared at the folder on his lap. How could he explain to an 8-year-old that someone had just offered to give them a hotel? Sweetheart, I think our lives might be about to change. Change how? For better or worse? I hope for the better. Much better. Did you get a new job? Luna asked, barely able to hide her excitement. Does that mean you won't have to work nights anymore? Ryan's chest ached. She always understood more than he gave her credit for. Maybe so, Princess. But Daddy needs to think carefully first. Daddy, I know you'll make the right choice. You always do. Her absolute trust filled him with warmth and pressure. Go to sleep now. I'll be home early tomorrow to take you to school. I love you. I love you too. When he hung up, the silence of the lobby wrapped around him like a heavy blanket. He opened the folder with trembling hands. Inside were documents stamped and signed, pre-approved by attorneys from Doyle and Associates. A detailed financial analysis of the Astor on Commonwealth, $340,000 in debt, most of it already cleared by transfers from Kensington Investment Group. A proposed renovation plan with a budget of $150,000. A hotel management training program costed at $25,000. An emergency fund of $50,000 for initial operating expenses. All under the name Ryan Michael Hale. On the last page was a handwritten note in blue ink. Ryan, you gave a stranger dignity when she needed it most. Let this bring you and Luna a better future. This isn't charity. It's an investment in someone I trust to do the right thing. With deepest gratitude, Margot Kensington Ryan set the folder down, pressing his palms against his eyes. This wasn't a dream. This was real. Crazy. Impossible. But real. He thought of Luna asking, "Did you get a new job, Daddy?" With eyes full of hope. He thought of the nights he worked from 10 at night until 6 in the morning. The mornings when he was too exhausted to make her breakfast. The times Luna asked why he couldn't come see her school performances. He thought of his wife, Sarah, before she died of breast cancer. Her last words to him, "Give Luna a good life, Ryan. She deserves it." For 6 years, he had done his best. But the best a single janitor could do, what was that really worth? Now, in front of him, was a chance to change everything. A chance for Luna never to worry about college tuition. A chance for him not to work 3 jobs. A chance for them to be a real family. But was he capable? He was just a janitor. What did he know about running a hotel? About accounting? About marketing? Then he remembered Margot's words. You don't wait for permission to do the right thing. Maybe that was all that was needed, he thought. Not knowledge, but the willingness to do what was right. Ryan picked up his phone and typed a message to Margot. Ms. Kensington, I need to meet with your attorneys as soon as possible. And thank you. I won't let you down. He hit send, then sat still in the silence. Outside, the city of Boston carried on, but for Ryan, the world had just completely changed. He stood, carefully folded the folder, and tucked it into his bag. Tomorrow, he would have to tell Luna. Tomorrow, he would have to learn how to become a hotel owner. But tonight, for the first time in 6 years, Ryan Hale went home with hope in his heart. On his first Monday as owner of the Astor on Commonwealth, Ryan stood before the manager's office door with the new key trembling in his hand. He had signed all the documents with Catherine Doyle, Margot's attorney, on Friday. Now, the room he had only glimpsed when Carl, the former manager, emerged in a haze of cigar smoke, belonged to him. He unlocked the door and stepped inside. The stench of mildew hit him immediately. The cramped room was piled with old invoices, broken chairs, and a wall calendar still pinned to 2018. The oak desk was buried in papers, moldy coffee mugs, and an ashtray overflowing with cigarette butts. Good Lord, Ryan sighed, setting down the new leather briefcase, Margot's gift, on the floor. Where do I even start? A soft knock made him turn. Daniel O'Connor stood at the doorway holding a cup of coffee. Morning, boss, Daniel said with a tentative smile. Figured you could use this. He handed Ryan the cup. Thanks, Daniel. And don't call me boss. I'm still Ryan. All right then, Ryan. You need me to help with anything? I know Carl left behind. A mess. Ryan glanced around the office. I don't even know how the computer system works. Or how to pull up revenue reports. Daniel walked in and sat before the ancient desktop. Okay, here's the reservation system. Carl never updated it past 2015. He pointed at icons on the screen. This one's the guest list, this is finances, and this one. He paused, raising his eyebrows. This one I've never seen. What is it? There's a folder called Special Accounts. I don't know what Carl used it for. Ryan bent down to look at the screen. Open it. Daniel double-clicked, but a password prompt popped up. Locked. Later then. First, show me how we're actually doing. For the next hour, Daniel walked Ryan through the basics. Occupancy was only 45%, alarmingly low for a South End hotel. Last month's revenue was $28,000, but operating expenses reached $35,000. We're bleeding money, Ryan said, palms sweating. Have been for 8 months, Daniel confirmed. Carl blamed the tough market, but the Marriott down the street is packed every night. Another knock. Rosa Martinez peeked in, holding a rag and a bottle of glass cleaner. "Mijo," she said to Ryan, "are you planning to clean this office? Smells like something died in here." Ryan laughed for the first time that day. "Rosa, can you help me? I don't even know where to start." "Here." Rosa set down the bottle and rolled up her sleeves. "First, we throw out the junk. Then we clean. Then we organize. Being a manager isn't just giving orders, mijo. You need space to think." As Rosa began clearing old papers, a loud thud from downstairs startled all three of them. "What the hell was that?" Ryan asked. Daniel winced. Probably Frank fixing something again. They headed to the basement and found Frank Doyle, a 60-year-old maintenance man with a silver beard and a permanent scowl, pounding on an industrial washing machine. "Frank, what's going on?" Ryan asked. Frank turned, eyeing Ryan up and down with open skepticism. "This damn thing's busted again. 3rd time this month. And who the hell are you?" "I'm Ryan." The new owner, Frank, barked a laugh. "New owner? You don't look like an owner. You look like a janitor." The air tightened. Daniel and Rosa stayed silent, waiting for Ryan's response. Ryan drew a slow breath. He remembered Margot's advice. "You don't wait for permission to do the right thing." "You're right, Frank. I was a janitor here for 6 years. I know this machine breaks because the drain pipe's clogged, not because the machine itself is faulty. And I know Carl never let you order the right replacement parts." Frank blinked. "You know about the drain pipe? I fixed it 15 times in the last 2 years. Each time Carl told me to patch it up instead of replacing it properly." Frank studied him differently now. "So what do you plan to do?" "First, we replace the entire drainage system in the laundry room. Then, we buy a new washer. One that won't break down every week. That'll cost money." "I know. But smart spending up front is a lot cheaper than constant repairs." Frank nodded slowly. "All right. Maybe you're not as bad as I thought." That afternoon, Ryan sat in a much cleaner office, poring over financials when the phone rang. Commonwealth Haven, Ryan speaking. "Daddy!" Luna's cheerful voice rang out. "Can I come visit you?" Miss Maria said, "I could take the bus." Ryan's heart skipped. Luna had never been to his work. "Of course, sweetheart. I'll meet you at the main entrance." 15 minutes later, Ryan watched Luna step off the bus, backpack with Hello Kitty straps bouncing, wearing the pink jacket Sarah had bought her before she died. Her wide eyes took everything in. "This is where you work, Daddy?" she asked as they entered the lobby. "That's right. And now, I own it." Luna looked around the main hall. Worn leather chairs, faded red carpet, a chandelier with bulbs missing. She was quiet for a long moment. "Daddy," she finally said with the blunt honesty of a child, "this place is sad." Ryan froze. "Sad?" "Yeah, like a house nobody wants to live in. Why do the chairs look so sad? And why aren't there any flowers?" From the front desk, Daniel snickered. Rosa, dusting the stair rail, stopped to listen. "You're right," Ryan admitted. "It's been sad for a long time. Do you think you have any ideas to make it happier?" Luna scanned the space again, more seriously this time. "I think it needs color and something to make people smile. Like paintings Or pictures of Boston. That's a great idea, sweetheart. And Daddy, Luna went on, more excited now, can I help? I'm really good at drawing. Miss Murphy says I could be an artist. A wave of emotion washed over Ryan. For the first time, Luna was showing interest in his work. For the first time, she wanted to be part of his world. Of course you can help. We'll make this a place people want to come to. Rosa came over. Luna, you want to see the nicest room? Yes. As Rosa led her off, Daniel moved closer to Ryan. She's right, Daniel admitted. This place looks like a hospital from the 1980s. I know. Margot gave me a renovation budget, but I don't know where to start. Maybe we start small. Paint, new carpet, new lights. Then work up to the big stuff. Ryan nodded. And maybe we need to figure out why Carl left a password-protected folder called Special Accounts. You think it's trouble? I don't know. But the numbers don't add up. We're losing money, but Carl lived very comfortably. Luna came running back, her eyes glowing. Daddy! Miss Rosa showed me a room on the 3rd floor. Can I paint Boston landscapes to hang there? Of course, Princess. And Daddy, Luna whispered, as if sharing a secret. I think you'll be really good at this. You always do things with love. When Ryan took Luna home that evening, he felt something had shifted. Not just in the hotel, but inside himself. For the first time, he wasn't just a man working to survive. He was a man building something. And more importantly, he was building it with his daughter. But deep down, he still wondered about the Special Accounts folder. Tomorrow, he would have to find out what Carl had been hiding. Tuesday morning, Ryan arrived at the office early with a single goal: unlock the Special Accounts folder. He had stayed up until 2 a.m., running through possible passwords in his head. Carl's name? Birth date? The hotel's name? Daniel had been there since 6, prepping for his shift. Morning, Ryan. Still thinking about that folder from yesterday? I couldn't sleep. Something's not right, Daniel. Carl ran this hotel at a loss, yet drove a brand new BMW every year. You want to try a few passwords? Ryan sat down at the computer. What's Carl's full name? Carl Edmund Brennan. Ryan tried Carl Brennan. Wrong. Brennan 2023. Wrong. Carl. Wrong. Try his wife's name, Daniel suggested. Dolores. Wrong. Dolores Kb. Wrong. Ryan leaned back in frustration. Then he remembered. Carl was always talking about retiring in Florida. Clearwater. Wrong. Florida. Wrong. Retirement. Wrong. Wait, Ryan thought about Carl's favorite boast. He was always bragging about his gold account. Ryan typed gold account, and the screen opened. Oh my God, Daniel whispered. Before them was a spreadsheet with dozens of transactions. Commonwealth Services Group, Bay State Financial Solutions, Harbor Line Logistics. Names Ryan had never seen in the official books. What the hell is this? Ryan scrolled down, eyes widening at the numbers. $3,200 for emergency plumbing in February. $4,800 for deep cleaning services in March. $2,900 for security consultation in April. Ryan, Daniel said slowly, I've been here 3 years. I've never seen any of these companies. Ryan's pulse quickened. He opened a new tab and searched Commonwealth Services Group Boston. Nothing. Bay State Financial Solutions. No official website, just a few dead yellow pages listings. They don't exist, Ryan said, voice shaking. These companies, they're fake. Daniel stared at the screen, but the money was transferred. Look, $47,000 in the past 6 months. Ryan felt like he'd been punched in the gut. 47,000. Enough to pay 3 employees for a year. Enough to repair the electrical system, replace the carpets, buy new equipment. Carl stole it, he whispered. He set up shell companies and funneled the money to himself. He scrolled further, searching for proof. A subfolder called Invoices contained scanned documents. One invoice from Commonwealth Services Group. Emergency pipe repairs for $3,200. But Ryan knew the pipes had never been repaired. Another from Bay State Financial, accounting consultation for $4,800. But Carl handled the books himself. Daniel, can you print all of this? Of course. But Ryan, what are you going to do? Ryan didn't answer right away. He thought of Luna asking, "Does this mean you won't have to work nights anymore?" With eyes full of hope. He thought of Rosa, Daniel, Frank, all working hard while Carl skimmed money right under their noses. He thought of Margot, who had trusted him with this chance. Her note. This isn't charity. It's an investment in someone I trust to do the right thing. If I do nothing, I'm complicit, he thought. But if I report this, the hotel could face an investigation. Margot might withdraw her support. I could lose everything. Footsteps on the stairs startled him. Rosa appeared in the doorway. Buenos dias, mijos. Why do you two look like you just saw a ghost? Ryan and Daniel exchanged a glance. Ryan decided Rosa deserved to know. Rosa, sit down. We just discovered something. Rosa sat, eyes narrowing at the computer screen. What is this? Carl was stealing from the hotel, Ryan said bluntly. At least $47,000 in the past 6 months. He created fake companies and funneled money to himself. Rosa was silent for a long time. Then she said, Mijo, I'm not surprised. You knew? Not the details. But these last months, Carl always had cash. He tipped me $100 at Christmas, the first time in 8 years. Said business is booming. But I saw the hotel emptier every week. Daniel nodded. I noticed too. Carl kept saying we had to cut back, but he bought a new Rolex last month. Ryan felt a wave of anger rise. While staff worked with broken equipment, while guests complained about outdated rooms, Carl was stealing money to buy luxury watches. What do we do? Rosa asked. Ryan looked out the window at the commuters rushing along Commonwealth Avenue. Ordinary, honest lives. The kind of life he wanted for Luna. I'm going to report it, he said finally. But first, we gather all the evidence. Ryan, Daniel said nervously, this could hurt the hotel. Police investigations, news coverage. I know. Ryan turned to them. But we have a choice. Pretend we don't know and become complicit, or do the right thing and face the consequences. Rosa stood, placing a hand on his shoulder. Mijo, I've worked in hospitality 20 years. I've seen too many people stay silent out of fear. But silence only makes the bad ones bolder. And think about Luna, she added. What kind of world will she grow up in? One where people look away from wrongdoing? Or one where they have the courage to stand up? Daniel nodded slowly. Rosa's right. And Ryan, if you don't report this, Carl could pull the same scam somewhere else. Ryan thought of last night when Luna had asked, Daddy, can I help paint pictures to decorate the hotel? Her eyes lit up at the idea of helping build something beautiful with him. How can I build something beautiful on a foundation of lies? All right, Ryan said, voice firm now. Here's what we'll do. Daniel, print every single document. Rosa, can you write down everything you remember about Carl's suspicious behavior? I'll call Catherine Doyle, Margot's attorney, for legal advice. And if this ruins everything? Daniel asked. If the hotel has to shut down? Ryan looked around the office, now cleaner, organized, filled with hope. He thought of the plans he and Luna had made, brightening the lobby, creating a reading nook, planting a small garden out front. "If we have to start over, then we'll start over," he said. "But this time, we'll start with the truth." He picked up his phone and began dialing Catherine Doyle. His hands shook, but his resolve did not. "Luna, I'm doing this for you," he thought, "so you can grow up in a world where good people aren't afraid to do the right thing." 2 days after Ryan called Catherine Doyle, life seemed to return to normal. The attorney had promised to handle it discreetly and advised Ryan to keep running the hotel as usual. Daniel had backed up all critical data. Rosa had written a detailed report of Carl's suspicious behavior. Everything appeared under control. Ryan was in his office, looking over Luna's lobby renovation drawings, bright, colorful sketches with tulips and Boston buildings, when Daniel called from the front desk. "Ryan, someone's here to see you. Says it's about the Carl matter." "An attorney?" "No, doesn't look like a lawyer." Ryan frowned. "Did he leave a name?" "Victor Ashford. Says you'll want to hear what he has to say." The name Victor Ashford sounded familiar, but Ryan couldn't place it. "Send him up." 5 minutes later, a man stepped into the office. Tall, wearing an expensive black suit, silver hair slicked neatly back. About 50, with cold gray eyes and a smile that wasn't sincere. He moved with the confidence of someone used to being obeyed. "Mr. Hale," he said, his voice warm but edged with something dangerous. "I'm Victor Ashford." Ryan stood. "Mr. Ashford, you want to talk about the Carl situation?" "You could say that." Victor glanced around the office, letting his gaze linger on Luna's drawings. "Your daughter's quite gifted." "Luna, isn't it? 8 years old. Adams Elementary." Ryan's blood went cold. "How do you know about my daughter?" Victor sat in the chair opposite without being asked, the cold smile still in place. "Mr. Hale, in business, information is power. I know many things. For example, I know you're at 412 Washington Street, apartment 2B. I know you take Luna to school on the number 39 bus every morning. I know she likes chocolate chip cookies from Parker's Bakery." Ryan felt as if ice water were running down his spine. "Are you threatening my daughter?" "Threatening?" Victor feigned surprise. "I'm merely demonstrating that I pay attention to what matters to you." "What do you want?" Victor leaned back, relaxed, as if discussing the weather. "Carl Brennan worked for me. Unofficially, of course. He helped me reallocate certain funds through smaller properties. Hotels like this are very useful for that purpose." "You're talking about money laundering." "I'm talking about business," Victor corrected, voice still calm. "And right now, you're interfering with my business." Ryan felt the room tilt. "Does Ms. Kensington know?" "Ms. Kensington is a very smart woman, but she focuses on legitimate investments. She doesn't need to know about supplementary operations." "What do you want me to do?" Victor stood and walked to the window overlooking Commonwealth Avenue. "Forget what you found. Delete those files. Tell the attorney you were mistaken. Carl retired and moved to Florida. Leave it at that. And if I don't?" Victor turned back, and for the first time his smile vanished entirely. "Mr. Hale, you have a good life. New job, new opportunity. A lovely daughter who gets to and from school safely every day. It would be a shame if unfortunate things were to happen." "You're threatening my daughter," Ryan repeated, this time not as a question. "I'm reminding you what you stand to lose." Victor moved toward the door. "You have 48 hours to decide, Mr. Hale. I hope you'll make the intelligent choice." He paused at the threshold. "Oh, and Mr. Hale?" Don't think about running. I have friends in many places, police, schools, even hospitals. It would be very hard to disappear. Victor left, and Ryan stood shaking in the middle of the office. He dropped into his chair, head spinning. The phone rang. Luna calling from school. "Daddy!" Her voice was bright. "I just finished a new painting for the hotel." "Can you pick me up early today?" Ryan checked the time. 3:30 p.m. Luna usually took the bus home at 4. "Of course, Princess. I'll be right there." "Yay! I love you." Ryan hung up and immediately called Rosa. "Rosa, can you cover the hotel for me? I have to pick up Luna." "Of course, mijo. Is something wrong?" I'll explain later." Ryan drove to the school over the speed limit, checking his mirrors constantly. Was someone following him? Was that black sedan the same one he'd seen that morning? When he saw Luna run out through the school gates, backpack bouncing and face beaming, Ryan felt he could breathe again. "Daddy!" Luna hopped into the car. "Why are you early?" "I just wanted to spend some time with you." Ryan scanned the area once more before pulling away from the school. "Daddy, is something wrong?" "You look worried." Ryan watched her in the rearview mirror. How could he explain to an 8-year-old that a dangerous man was threatening them? "Luna, how about we go camping this weekend?" "Camping? But Daddy, I thought we were going to work at the hotel." "We will, but I think we need a little trip." Just a few days, Luna was quiet for a moment. "Daddy, are we running away from someone?" Ryan nearly hit the brakes. "Why would you ask that?" "Because the last time we had to go on a sudden trip was when Mr. Peterson, our old landlord, wanted to raise the rent." I remember Ryan pulled over, turning to face her. Luna's big eyes, so like Sarah's, looked at him with understanding beyond her years. "Sweetheart," he said gently, "sometimes grown-ups have to deal with difficult problems. And sometimes the best way to protect your family is to go away for a little while." "So are we going to abandon the hotel?" I already painted lots of pictures. Ryan's heart cracked. "No, honey. We're not abandoning the hotel, I promise. We just need to be careful for a bit." Luna nodded solemnly. "Okay. But Daddy?" "Yes? This time I want to help you face the problem, not just run away." I'm older now. A wave of pride and pain washed over Ryan. His little girl had grown up too fast, forced to be brave too soon. "All right, Princess. We'll face it together. But first, we need a safe place to think about a plan." As they drove toward the hotel to pick up a few essentials, Ryan knew the real fight had just begun. Victor Ashford had made a grave mistake when he threatened Luna. Now, this wasn't just about doing the right thing. It was about protecting his family. The next morning, Ryan brought Luna to the hotel to collect some important documents before moving temporarily into Rosa's home. He had called Rosa the night before, explaining the threat. She had immediately invited them to stay with her family in Roxbury. "Mijo," Rosa had said over the phone, "no one threatens our family. Bring Luna here." As soon as they parked in front of the Astor on Commonwealth, Ryan knew something was wrong. A sharp, acrid smell drifted out of the building, and he saw Daniel standing at the door, his face stricken. "Ryan!" Daniel ran over. "Thank God you're here." "Someone broke in last night." "Did they steal anything?" "No. They vandalized. The electrical system's been cut. Every AC unit smashed, and—" Daniel glanced at Luna. Maybe she shouldn't go inside. Ryan knelt down to Luna's eye level. "Sweetheart, can you sit in the front lobby chairs and do some drawing? Daddy needs to check something." Luna nodded, though her eyes were filled with worry. "Is this because of the bad men you told me about yesterday?" "Maybe so, honey. But don't worry. Daddy will handle it." When Ryan stepped inside, he was stunned by the destruction. Severed wires littered the floor. All the lobby's AC units had been smashed. The front desk computer screen was shattered. "Lucky no guests stayed last night," Daniel said. "But Ryan, this—" He pointed toward the manager's office. Ryan's office had been completely ransacked. Drawers yanked open, papers scattered everywhere, and on the wall, in red paint, were the words, 48 hours. Rosa appeared from the back, broom in hand. "Mijo, I called the police. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Rosa, you shouldn't be here. It's dangerous." "Dangerous, my foot," Rosa shot back firmly. "This is my workplace. Our workplace. No one has the right to do this." Frank Doyle emerged from the basement, his face smeared with soot and fury. "Ryan, they smashed the furnace and the water heater. Damage is probably $15,000. Ryan felt like he'd been punched in the gut. 15,000. Almost the entire emergency fund Margot had left. "But," Frank added with a sly grin, "I recorded everything." "Recorded how?" "I set up my own security cameras in the basement 2 weeks ago. Those bastards had no clue." Frank patted his pocket, where a USB drive bulged. "We've got their faces." Ryan felt a spark of hope. "Frank, I know you're doing the right thing." Frank cut him off. "Carl was a bastard. I knew it for years, but kept quiet because I needed the job. Not anymore." As they spoke, Emily Chen walked in, though it wasn't her shift. "I heard from Rosa," Emily said softly. "How can I help?" "Emily, you don't need to—" "Mr. Ryan?" she interrupted, louder than usual. "For 2 years you've helped me. When my kid was sick, when I needed an advance to pay rent. Now it's my turn to help you?" Daniel nodded. "We've been talking over messages since last night. We'll take turns watching the hotel 24/7 until this is settled." "You don't understand," Ryan said, moved but worried. "These people are dangerous. They threatened Luna." "That's exactly why," Rosa said firmly. "We can't let them win. Ryan, mijo, we're family now. Family protects each other." Outside, police sirens wailed closer. As Ryan stepped out to meet them, he saw Luna sitting in the lobby chairs, sketching with colored pencils. "What are you drawing, Princess?" Luna looked up, eyes bright. "I'm drawing your hotel, Daddy." Ryan looked down at the picture. She had drawn the Astor on Commonwealth, but not as it was. In her drawing, the hotel was bursting with color. Flowers in the windows, bright flags draped from balconies, people smiling as they went in and out. At the top, she had written, "Daddy's Hotel, where everyone is happy." "Daddy," Luna said solemnly, "I know bad people broke the hotel. But I made this to remind you. Bad people can't destroy dreams. They can only break things." Ryan felt his eyes sting. "You're right, Luna. Absolutely right." The police arrived and took statements. Detective Martin Rodriguez, a sharp-eyed Latino man in his 40s, reviewed Frank's security footage. "This is good evidence," he said. "We can ID at least 2 of them. But Mr. Hale, do you have any idea why someone would do this?" Ryan glanced at Rosa, Frank, Daniel, and Emily. They all nodded encouragement. "Detective Rodriguez, I need to report a money laundering network. Our former manager, Carl Brennan, worked with a man named Victor Ashford. They used this hotel to launder money, and when I found out—" "They threatened you," the detective finished. "I see. Do you have proof of the laundering?" "Yes, all of it's backed up and sent to my attorney." "Good. We'll need all that information. And Mr. Hale, do you and your daughter have somewhere safe to stay?" "Yes, he's staying with my family," Rosa interjected. The detective nodded. "Good. I'll contact the FBI about the laundering. In the meantime, we'll increase patrols around this area. After the police left, the staff gathered in the wrecked lobby. So, what do we do now? Daniel asked. Frank propped his broom upright. We clean. We repair. We reopen. But the damage, Ryan began. Mijo, Rosa cut in. We'll work for free until this place is back on its feet. Right? She looked around. Daniel nodded. I can fix the computers. My friend at Best Buy owes me a favor, Emily said softly. My husband's an electrician. He can help with the wiring. Frank grinned. And me, I know where to get second-hand AC units that still work. Half the market price. Ryan looked around at these people he had once considered only co-workers. Now they were ready to sacrifice for a shared cause. You don't have to. Ryan, Rosa said, placing a hand on his shoulder. We're family now. Family doesn't abandon each other in hard times. Luna stood up, holding her drawing. And when we fix it, I'll make even more paintings. To make the hotel prettier than before. Frank chuckled, a sound Ryan had never heard from him. She's right. We'll make it better than before. As they began cleaning, Ryan felt something had shifted. Victor Ashford thought vandalism would scare them into surrender. Instead, it had bound them together. We won't just survive, Ryan thought, watching his team work side by side. We'll win. 3 days after the vandalism, Ryan sat in a small cafe in Cambridge, far enough from the Astor on Commonwealth to avoid being watched. Detective Rodriguez had introduced him to Claire Donovan, a veteran investigative reporter at the Boston Globe who specialized in corruption and financial crime. Claire Donovan, 45, short red hair and sharp blue eyes, sat across from Ryan with a cup of coffee and a small recorder. Mr. Hale, she said, her voice low and professional. Detective Rodriguez told me about your situation. But I need to hear it directly from you. From the beginning, Ryan glanced around the cafe. Only a few students studying and an elderly couple reading newspapers. Before I start, I need to know, could this put my daughter at risk? Claire paused mid-sip. What do you mean? Luna. She's only 8. If this goes public, if Victor Ashford or his people retaliate, could I lose custody? Could they say I'm an unfit father because I couldn't protect her? Claire set her cup down, her eyes softening. Mr. Hale, I have 2 kids. I understand your fear. But think about it this way. If you stay silent, Victor Ashford and men like him will keep hurting others. Maybe other children, other families will be threatened. I know, but... And more than that, Claire continued, going public will protect you and Luna. Once this is out in the open, it'll be much harder for them to take care of you quietly. Ryan exhaled deeply. I need your word that Luna's name won't appear in the story. Of course. We'll only refer to her as his daughter, and we can blur your face in photos if necessary. All right. What do you want to know? Claire switched on the recorder. Tell me about the night you saved Margot Kensington. For the next 45 minutes, Ryan recounted everything. From the rainy night he rescued Margot, to inheriting the hotel, to uncovering Carl's laundering scheme, his confrontation with Victor Ashford, and the vandalism. Claire took notes nonstop, occasionally asking clarifying questions. Do you have evidence of the fraudulent transfers? Yes, all backed up and sent to Margot's attorney. Catherine Doyle can provide them. And about Victor's threats? I didn't record them, but he knew far too much about Luna. Our home address, her school, even the kind of cookies she likes. That can't be coincidence. Claire nodded. And your staff can testify? Rosa, Daniel, Frank, Emily, they're all willing. Especially Frank. He has video of the vandalism. Excellent. I'll also need to speak with Margot Kensington. Does she know about the illegal operations? I don't think so. Victor said she only focused on the legitimate investments. Claire stopped writing and looked at Ryan seriously. Mr. Hale, I need you to understand. Once this runs, your life will change completely. Reporters will call. Some people won't be friendly. You and Luna may need protection for a while. Ryan's stomach nodded. How long? Hard to say. Depends on how quickly the FBI moves and whether they can catch Victor Ashford. Ryan's phone rang. Luna, calling from Rosa's house. Daddy! Her voice was bright. I just finished a new painting, and Miss Rosa taught me how to make empanadas. That sounds wonderful, Princess. I'll be home in an hour. Daddy. Her voice grew serious. Miss Rosa said you're talking to someone from the newspaper. About the bad men, Ryan glanced at Claire, who politely looked out the window to give him privacy. That's right, sweetheart. Daddy, I want you to do the right thing, Luna said firmly, her words stabbing Ryan's heart. No matter how hard it is. I don't want the bad men to hurt other families like they hurt us. Are you sure? This could change our lives. I'm sure. Mommy always told me doing the right thing is never easy, but it's always worth it. I remember she said that. Ryan felt his eyes sting. Sarah had said those exact words to Luna when she was 6, after Luna admitted breaking a vase she had first blamed on the cat. All right, sweetheart. Daddy will do the right thing. I love you. And Daddy, Miss Rosa says we can stay here as long as we want. She has a garden. I can paint flowers. When Ryan hung up, Claire gave him a warm smile. Your daughter is very special. She's all I have. And that's exactly why you need to do this. So she grows up in a better world. For the next hour, Claire walked Ryan through the process she would follow to verify everything. I'll speak with your attorney, with the staff, and I'll try to reach Margot Kensington. I also have contacts at the FBI. They can confirm if an investigation is underway. And Victor Ashford? That's the hard part. I'll need to dig carefully. Men like him have sharp lawyers and don't hesitate to sue the press. You're worried about retaliation, Claire nodded. That's a real risk. But Mr. Hale, think about what happened when you tried to handle this quietly. They vandalized your hotel. They threatened your daughter. Silence didn't protect you. It only made them bolder. So what's next? I'll need about a week to investigate and verify. In the meantime, stay with Rosa and keep a low profile. Don't go back to the hotel alone. And if anything unusual happens, anything, call me immediately. She handed Ryan her card with her personal number. I'd also like to meet Luna. Ryan tensed. Why? Not for an interview. I just want her to understand what's happening. Sometimes children cope better when they know the truth, instead of being kept in the dark. Ryan thought of Luna, how she always seemed to see through things with uncanny clarity. All right, but I'll be there. Of course. As they prepared to leave the cafe, Claire placed a hand on his shoulder. Mr. Hale, what you're doing is brave. Not everyone is willing to stand up to men like Victor Ashford. I don't feel brave. I just feel scared. That's what real courage is. Doing the right thing while you're scared. Driving back to Rosa's, Ryan thought about Luna's words. I want you to do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. An 8-year-old braver than most adults, he thought, including her father. But now, with Claire Donovan and the Boston Globe behind him, Ryan felt, for the first time, that they had a real chance to win this fight. Sunday morning, a week after his meeting with Claire Donovan, Ryan woke up in Rosa's living room to the shrill ring of a phone. He glanced at the clock. 6:30 a.m. "Ryan!" Rosa called from the kitchen, her voice brimming with excitement. "Mijo, the article is out. Claire just called." Ryan sat up, his heart pounding. This was the day they had been waiting for and dreading all week. Luna came bounding down from the upstairs bedroom, her hair still messy, pajamas covered in teddy bears. "Daddy? What's going on? Why is everyone shouting?" "Sweetheart, the article about our hotel has been published." The family gathered around Rosa's iPad. Claire had sent a link to the Boston Globe story. A bold headline filled the screen. "Boston Hotel at Center of Multi-Million-Dollar Laundering Network. Janitor turned owner exposes corruption." Luna pointed at the screen. "Daddy, that's your name? Ryan Hale, 38, single father." "You can read that already?" Ryan asked, surprised. "I practiced with Miss Rosa all week. And look, there's a picture of our hotel." Rosa scrolled down and read aloud. "Mr. Hale, who worked as a janitor at the Astor on Commonwealth for 6 years, uncovered a complex fraud scheme after being gifted the hotel by Kensington Investment Group CEO Margot Kensington, in gratitude for saving her from a dangerous situation." "Daddy," Luna interrupted, her eyes glowing, "the paper says you're a hero." Ryan felt his face flush. "Sweetheart, I just did the right thing." "But that makes you a hero," Luna insisted. "Miss Rosa, can you print this out?" "I want to take it to school and show my friends." Rosa laughed. "Of course, mija. We'll even frame it." Ryan's phone rang. Claire Donovan. "Ryan, have you seen the article?" "Just finished reading it." "I can't believe it. The response is overwhelming. We've received hundreds of supportive comments. And Ryan, good news. The FBI arrested Victor Ashford at Logan Airport this morning as he tried to board a flight to the Cayman Islands. Ryan felt as though a massive weight had been lifted from his chest. Really? Really? He's being charged with money laundering, fraud, and witness intimidation. With the evidence you provided, the FBI can pursue him for a laundering network spanning 6 states. And Carl? Also arrested in Florida. He's pled guilty and is cooperating in exchange for a lighter sentence. Rosa and Luna listened intently to every word. "Claire, does this mean—" "It means you and Luna are safe now. You can return home, and to your hotel." After hanging up, Ryan hugged Luna and Rosa tightly. "It's over," he whispered. "We won." That whole day, Ryan's phone rang a few more times. Calls from a local radio station, a business blog, and, surprisingly, from 3 people wanting to book rooms at the Astor on Commonwealth. "We read about your hotel in the paper," a woman's voice said. "It sounds like a special place. Do you have any rooms available this weekend?" Another call came from an elderly couple. "We want to support you by staying there when we visit our grandson in Boston." Luna sat beside Ryan, listening curiously to each call. "Daddy," she said, after the 3rd call, "people want to come to our hotel." "That's right, sweetheart. Not many yet, but it's a good start." That afternoon, as they prepared to head back to the Astor on Commonwealth, Daniel called, "Ryan, can you come by? There are some people here who want to meet you." "Is there a problem?" "No, just some folks read the article and want to congratulate you." When Ryan and Luna arrived at the hotel, they found about a dozen people standing outside. An elderly woman with silver hair, a young couple, and a man holding a small bouquet. "Daddy," Luna whispered, "are they here for us?" The elderly woman stepped forward. "Are you Ryan Hale? I read the article. I just wanted to say thank you for having the courage to do the right thing." The man with the flowers added, "I've lived in this neighborhood 20 years. We need more people like you." Luna looked up at Ryan. "Daddy, can I say thank you to them?" Ryan nodded. Luna stepped forward, her voice small but steady. "Thank you all for coming. Our hotel will open again very soon." The visitors smiled and clapped softly. Ryan's chest swelled with warmth. As the crowd dispersed, Emily hurried out of the hotel. "Ryan, we've had 8 bookings today, and 3 emails asking about hosting small events." Daniel appeared with some papers. "Not a lot, but already better than last week." Ryan looked around. The hotel that had been trashed just a week ago now had bouquets of flowers from neighbors and its first new reservations. "This is the beginning," he said, pulling Luna close. "We made it through the hardest part." Luna looked up at her father with a radiant smile. "And Daddy, now everyone will know that doing the right thing is always worth it." That was exactly what Sarah would have said, Ryan thought. And for the first time since her death, he felt she was smiling somewhere, proud of their little family. 2 weeks after the article was published, Ryan was in his office reviewing the breakfast room renovation plans when Daniel called from the front desk. "Ryan, there's a lady here to see you. She says her name is Eleanor Ashford." Ryan froze. Ashford. Is she connected to Victor? She says she's his mother. But Ryan, she looks very different. Very polite and sad. Ryan glanced toward the lobby window, where Luna sat drawing, treating the hotel as her second home every afternoon after school. "Send her up. But Daniel, stay nearby." 5 minutes later, a woman stepped into the office. Eleanor Ashford, about 70, silver hair neatly combed, wearing a plain wool coat, and carrying an old but well-made handbag. Nothing like the flashy image Ryan imagined of Victor's family. "Mr. Hale," she said, her Boston-accented voice trembling slightly. "Thank you for agreeing to see me. I know this is uncomfortable." "Mrs. Ashford." Ryan stood, but did not extend his hand. "What do you want?" Eleanor sat, placing her bag on her lap and clasping her hands tightly. "I came to apologize for what my son did to you and your daughter." Ryan hadn't expected that. You know about what Victor did?" "I read the papers. I spoke with his lawyer. And—" She faltered, voice shaking. "This wasn't the first time." "What do you mean?" Eleanor looked toward the lobby where Luna was drawing. "That's Luna, isn't it? I hear she's very bright." "Yes, and I'll protect her at any cost." "I understand. I once tried to protect my son, too." Eleanor opened her bag and pulled out a thick envelope. "But perhaps I protected him the wrong way." "What are you saying?" "Victor wasn't always like this," she said softly. "As a boy, he was kind. But when my husband, Victor's father, became wealthy, we ruined him." Ryan leaned back, curiosity breaking through his guard. "We gave him everything he wanted. Whenever he got into trouble at school, we paid it off. When he hurt friends, we taught him that that's how the world works. We thought we were giving him an advantage. But really, we were stripping away his humanity." "Why are you telling me this?" Eleanor's eyes flicked back to Luna. "Because I see you raising your daughter differently. I've watched you these past 2 weeks. You've been watching us?" Ryan tensed. "Not spying. I live just 2 blocks away. Sometimes I walk past here. I saw her helping staff clean up. I saw you teach her to say sorry when she spilled juice. Small things we never taught." Victor Ryan looked out at Luna, showing Emily her new drawing, eager to share her work. "Mrs. Ashford, I don't know what you want from this conversation." "I want to help," she said, pushing the envelope toward him. "This is $50,000. Not to buy forgiveness. I know I don't deserve that. It's to repair what my son destroyed. Ryan stared at the envelope, but didn't touch it. I can't take your money. Why not? Because it doesn't feel right. I don't want Luna to learn that we take money from... He stopped. From the families of those who hurt us? Eleanor finished. Mr. Hale, that's precisely the lesson I want to address. What do you mean? Eleanor stood and walked to the window. When Victor was little, he beat up another child on the playground. Instead of making him apologize, we transferred him to a private school. We taught him that money fixes everything, without responsibility. She turned back to Ryan. But you can teach Luna differently. You can show her that when harm is done, we try to make amends, not by hiding, but by taking responsibility. Ryan frowned. You want me to take the money as a lesson in responsibility? I want you to show her that good people can choose forgiveness. That kindness is stronger than hatred. The office door burst open, and Luna skipped in, her face glowing. Daddy, I just finished a drawing of... Oh, she stopped when she saw Eleanor. Luna, this is Mrs. Ashford, Ryan said. She came to speak with us. Luna looked at Eleanor curiously. Who are you? Eleanor knelt to meet her eyes. Sweetheart, I'm the mother of someone who hurt your family. I came to say, I'm sorry. Luna looked at Ryan, then back at Eleanor. Did you mean to hurt us? No, darling. I want to help, Luna thought for a moment. My mom used to say, sometimes good people do bad things, but that doesn't mean they're bad forever. Do you think your son can become good again? Eleanor's eyes filled. I hope so, sweetheart. But that depends on what he learns from this. Luna nodded gravely. Daddy, I think we should listen to her. Ryan looked at his daughter, an 8-year-old teaching him about forgiveness. All right, he said at last. Mrs. Ashford, we'll accept your money. But with a condition. What condition? Ryan glanced at Luna, then back at Eleanor. I want Luna to understand that people can change. If you truly want to help, maybe you can visit sometimes. Not to talk about the past, but to show her we can build good things out of hard beginnings. Eleanor smiled for the first time since arriving. You mean I could help rebuild this hotel? If you'd like. Luna always needs someone to guide her drawings, and we're planning a small garden out front. Luna took Eleanor's hand. And you can teach me about flowers. I want to paint them, but I don't know their names. Eleanor's eyes brimmed again. I'd love to, sweetheart. I used to have a beautiful garden. Watching Luna clasp this stranger's hand with total trust, Ryan realized his daughter was teaching them all an important lesson: the power of forgiveness. 6 months after his meeting with Eleanor, Ryan stood outside the hotel with Luna, gazing at the freshly polished sign, Commonwealth Haven, a place for families. Daddy, Luna said, pointing at the flower pots Eleanor had helped plant beneath the ground floor windows. I like this name better. Why's that, sweetheart? Because it says what you wanted to make. A place where families feel safe. Ryan smiled. The hotel was still a hotel. They still had paying guests, still had to worry about revenue and operating costs. But something was different now. Every afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30, a corner of the lobby became a little study space where Luna and 4 or 5 neighborhood kids did their homework together. Rosa had suggested the idea after noticing some single mothers in the area had no choice but to leave their kids home alone after school. It's not some official program, Rosa had explained to Ryan. Just a safe spot for the kids to do homework and play. Luna loved it. She had become the big sister of the group, helping the younger kids with math and teaching them how to draw. Not a learning center, just a cluster of children helping one another. "Ryan," Emily called from the door, "phone for you." "It's Mrs. Rodriguez, Marcus's mom." Marcus was a 7-year-old who often came to do homework with Luna. His mother worked long hours at the hospital. "Mrs. Rodriguez," Ryan said into the receiver, "is everything all right?" "Mr. Hale, I just wanted to thank you and Luna. Marcus loves coming there, and his grades have improved a lot. I know this isn't part of your business, but—" "It's nothing, Mrs. Rodriguez. We're happy to help. I'd like to donate a little toward school supplies for the kids." Warmth spread through Ryan's chest. This wasn't about creating some big organization. It was simply neighbors helping neighbors. That afternoon, Eleanor arrived with a small bag of homemade cookies. "For the kids," she said. "What are they learning today?" "We're drawing families," Luna answered. "Marcus drew his mom at the hospital where she works." Eleanor sat with the children, helping a little girl hold her pencil properly. "Families come in many shapes," she said gently. When the kids went home and the hotel quieted again, Ryan sat in his office reviewing the financial reports. Things were better, though not always easy. They still had to compete with larger hotels, still had to plan for slow seasons. Luna came running in, holding up a new drawing. "Daddy, I made this for you." It was a picture of Commonwealth Haven. Not grand or idealized, just a modest building with warm windows, flower pots, and a few smiling people outside. "This is our home," Luna explained. "Not very big, but full of love." Ryan hugged his daughter tight. "That's right, sweetheart. This is our home." That night, after Luna was asleep, Ryan stepped out to the small front garden where they'd planted young trees. He thought back to the rainy night he saved Margot, and how far they had come. They hadn't created some miracle, just a modest hotel trying to do honest business, and in the process, to bring a little warmth to the community around them. Sometimes, that was all that was needed. Ryan and Luna's story reminds us that sometimes the smallest acts can create the biggest changes. A single father with a kind heart didn't just change his own life, he touched an entire community. If you found this story meaningful, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced a situation like Ryan's? What would you have done in his place? And don't forget to subscribe to True Tale Time so you don't miss more moving stories of kindness, courage, and hope. We post new videos every week with true stories that will warm your heart and remind you of the power of humanity. We'll see you in the next video. And remember, always believe in the good.